never going to be done.
Right now on WTOL 11 Plus now, an historic peace deal that could lead to the end of a 2-year war. What we know about the deal between Israel and Hamas.
We're in day 9. The consequences of this Democrat shutdown are very real.
Also, for the 7th time, the Senate failed to pass 2 continuing resolutions to reopen the government. We'll break down what this means. Thanks for joining us tonight on WTOL 11 Plus Now. I'm Jeff Smith. Republican lawmakers have proposed a bill they say would give more than $1 billion in property tax relief to Ohioans. But school district leaders across Northwest Ohio say this could be disastrous for them. Megan Hartnett with more.
Lawmakers are looking to give Ohio homeowners a tax break. Their solution, House Bill 186. The bill limits how much additional revenue school districts can get if they are at the base amount, saving property owners more than $1.7 billion.
House Bill 186 sounds like a property tax relief bill, and it looks like it on paper. But for small public schools like us, this will have a devastating impact.
It's a solution school leaders say would leave them sinking. Superintendents from across Northwest Ohio say this bill could take away anywhere from $2 to $3 million from their districts over the next 3 years. That means cuts would come, something they say isn't a threat, rather a reality.
You are cutting teachers, you're cutting bus routes, extracurriculars, and the future that our kids have and rely on us for.
School leaders say the state has been giving less money to schools, which makes them more reliant on homeowners. And this bill wouldn't stop schools from going to voters.
This legislation would create an immediate financial crisis for hundreds of districts, forcing many onto local ballots to seek new funding.
Superintendents say there is a sustainable solution. They say fully funding the Fair School Funding Plan could keep them off the ballots.
Whether you're a large district like a Springfield or an Anthony Wayne or Perrysburg, if that Fair School Funding Plan were implemented, that would keep us all off the ballot today.
The superintendents say they have been working with local legislators and the public to try and find a solution.
All right, Megan, let's dive a little bit more into your story, talk about some of the more specific points of this. And this bill is not the only one out there, we understand, in the state of Ohio that is aimed at property taxes, and these school administrators have their eyes on.
No, there's been a lot of different pushes. Even we just most recently saw that the Senate overrode one of Governor DeWine's vetoes, getting rid of emergency and replacement levies. So that's no longer an option for schools. There's another House bill out there that would require, if there's going to be a levy that's with more than 2 mills, they would need 66% of the vote to pass it. And there's also the legislation we know that could be on the ballot in May, which would completely eradicate property taxes. I mean, we're seeing more and more legislation proposed about property taxes, and the school leaders are saying, this is an issue. They agree that there's something wrong with our reliance on property taxes, but if we got rid of property taxes completely, that would leave a $48 billion gap in the state budget, and they say that's something we can't do.
They want the Band-Aid ripped off slowly as opposed to just pulling it off quickly. I wonder if in these meetings you got the sense, or you heard from any of these superintendents as they got to the podium, as they got to the microphone. Obviously, they have canned pieces that they want to present. They have statements that they want to get out there. But did you hear any emotion out of them? Like, we just can't take any more of this, because all we hear, especially in our business, is we need money, we need money, we need money.
And I think today it kind of just, the frustration kind of came out from them. Because for some of them, the one, he said, if this bill passes, it's going to be like a death sentence for them. And that kind of just is a different mindset of like, oh no, it's not going to hurt us and stuff. We are getting rid of education then, because it's not, they're saying that when you cut this amount of money, I mean, anywhere from $2 to $3 million over the next 3 years for the schools, that's not taking away, an extracurricular or a football program. That's taking away teachers, that's taking away busing, that's taking away the money that they have to be able to provide a good education for students.
There were both suburban and rural school districts. You asked about data centers specifically. That was interesting. What did you hear?
So, there's the idea that if these big businesses come in, couldn't it potentially give them money? And they said it is a possibility. It brings, more revenue, more jobs, more families, more people to the area. But a lot of times there will be tax abatements, so they wouldn't get that money right away. And they think it's definitely an opportunity they have, but they want to make sure that there's a sustainable funding out there, and they don't want to be relying on these businesses for how they fund their schools.
Yeah, I encourage you to go check out Megan's story on WTOL.com.
We ended the war in Gaza and really, on a much bigger basis, created peace. And I think it's going to be a lasting peace, hopefully an everlasting peace.
Now to the story is making headlines around the world. An historic peace deal between Israel and Hamas is one step closer to reality. Israel and Hamas signed a deal Thursday in what the White House calls phase one of a peace plan proposed by President Trump. The plan calls for Israel to pull back troops from parts of Gaza and then for Hamas to release its hostages. President Trump called the deal a momentous breakthrough in the Middle East and says he expects the hostages to be released as soon as Monday or Tuesday. Lawmakers on Capitol Hill, they are still at odds over how to reopen the federal government. Earlier today, members of the Senate once again rejected measures to restart funding. The first vote, a Democratic funding measure that would have funded the government through October 31st and extend health insurance tax credits, fell short. A vote on the GOP-backed measure to fund the government through November 21st also failed. During a cabinet meeting earlier today, President Trump threatened to cut other federal programs he says are popular with his rivals. The last of 10 inmates who escaped from a jail in New Orleans is back in custody. Police in Atlanta found Derek Groves hiding in a crawl space in that house. Authorities also recovered a pistol, rifle, ammunition, and 15 pounds of marijuana at the home. Groves told a Georgia judge today that he wants to return to Louisiana. He will likely face new charges related to the escape in that state. Still to come, take a look at your screen. If you have this pressure cooker in your kitchen, there's a problem. We're going to tell you more on the issue, where these things were sold. This thing has led to injuries. We're going to tell you more about that coming up. Also, after living out of her car for the past 2 years, a North Carolina woman has officially moved into her new home. We're going to tell you what went into making all this happen.
And you're going to wake up to frosty conditions tomorrow morning. Grab the jacket because we're going to drop down to the upper 30s, but will the cool down last into the weekend? I'll let you know coming up next.
WTOL 11 Plus News Now, live for you here. I'm Jeff Smith. We have the latest on what is trending on social media. And right now there's a video we wanted to show you on TikTok, our TikTok page. Here's Melissa Andrews with the latest.
A man accused of killing his 13-year-old daughter has just weeks to decide if he'll claim insanity. A Lucas County judge has set an October 30th deadline for Darnell Jones Ogletree's defense team to say whether they'll argue that he was legally insane or impaired at the time the crime happened. Jones is charged with the rape, kidnapping, and murder of his daughter, 13-year-old Kimani Latigue. Prosecutors are seeking the death penalty if he's convicted. Jones has pleaded not guilty. Here's the latest order by the judge with that October 30th deadline. If his attorneys file notice, the case will slow down for psychiatric evaluation. It will also shift focus from what he did to whether he knew it was wrong when he did it. If they miss that deadline, that defense is off the table for good. The trial is set to begin in April of 2026, and the judge says that timeline matters, both to ensure a fair trial and to honor victims' rights. Jones' defense has until October 13th to challenge the order, but that clock is already ticking.
Make sure you are following WTOL 11 on your favorite social media platform to stay up to date. All right, check it out. Other stories we're tracking for you tonight. Tempo USA has announced a recall of nearly 47,000 of its Ambiano electric pressure cookers. You see it right there? The Consumer Product Safety Commission says the lids on these items can be opened before enough steam pressure is released, and that poses a potential burn risk for users. In fact, at least 8 severe burn injuries have been reported. The cookers were sold nationwide from January of 2016 through December of 2019 at Aldi retail stores. If you've got one, you can return it to the store for a refund. We are just now seeing 20 years worth of images taken by 2 orbiters circling Mars. Scientists are noticing raging winds on the red planet. Mars's iconic red dust allows for wind to actually be seen. It was estimated the Martian dust devils and their winds can move as fast as roughly 99 miles per hour. That is much faster than any dust devils ever recorded by rovers exploring the red planet's surface. Experts say tracking the movement of dust on Mars is crucial for planning future robotic and human exploration there.
Wow. Yeah,
Kind of scary. And I wonder, John, I would think they're able to differentiate what's down on the ground, what winds are at higher levels, right?
Yeah, I mean, satellite data is really amazing with what it can pick up. And it's interesting, they pointed out the thing about dust, because we can actually sometimes see dust, a dust storm coming across from the Sahara, across the ocean from satellite. It looks a little bit of a brownish hue, but 99 miles an hour. Dust devils here on Earth about 40 to 50. So yeah, that would be pretty potent. I don't know if I want to live there.
I'm taking my Mars card out of the game.
We'll leave it to the future generations. Winds are going to be a little calmer here, and that's good news for kickers for Friday Night Lights, and also the Battle of I-75 as well. Yeah. And not as much dust either, thankfully. So forecast-wise, chilly, but also not as breezy, and we're expecting the chance for some patchy frost to develop into your Friday morning. Low temperatures are expected to be in the upper 30s, so if you thought it was chilly today, tomorrow morning, it's going to be even colder. Now, the lakeshore is going to stay a little milder once again. Temperatures have fallen to the 50s in Wood County, mid-50s now in Hillsdale County, and our Lake Erie water temperature is still hovering in the upper 60s to near 70, so that light east wind direction, it actually does play a role in how cold those overnight lows can get. There are frost advisories now in place for every single northwest Ohio county, as well as Hillsdale and Lenawee County. Monroe could stay just a few degrees milder and frost-free due to the influence of Lake Erie. Out in New England, there are freeze warnings that are in effect, and a freeze warning is for when temperatures get below 32, so it's going to be even colder to the east. Hour-by-hour forecast shows you those upper 30s out the door tomorrow morning. I'd recommend covering up any outdoor plants that may be sensitive to that frost. Do so tonight before bed. Afternoon highs are expected to be in the upper 60s to near 70 degrees, so it is going to be a little milder into the latter half of your day Friday. Forecasting a high around 69 degrees for the Toledo Metro. After that frosty morning, we do see lots of sunshine, although the afternoon is going to feature a little bit bit more cloud cover and turning more cloudy late in the day. And we do have some new data on the drought monitor because rainfall has still been very hard to come by, and those extreme drought conditions do appear to be expanding. That bright red color shows you the worst rainfall deficit, that extreme drought that now stretches up to Lucas County, parts of southern and central Lucas County, all the way down towards Findlay and westbound along the Maumee River. That shows you where there is an ongoing extreme drought. So weather impacts ahead into the weekend. Tonight, frost possible, temperatures in the mid to upper 30s. Into the weekend, likely dry and mild. There is going to be a very weak cold front Friday night that could bring a little more cloud cover, but I do expect predominantly dry conditions with that front, and the long range still staying quiet, so those drought conditions are not going anywhere anytime soon, with the rainfall deficit still continuing to grow. Frost tomorrow morning. The weekend looks fairly comfortable, but you still will want that light jacket. Monday and Tuesday, we do climb up to the 70s. A very dry week of weather for the farmers in fall harvest mode, and the next chance for showers holds off until at least next Friday, with lots of dry October weather ahead. Jeff.
All right, John, thanks. For most people, a 1997 Lincoln Continental is just an old car. But for one North Carolina woman, it was home. For nearly 2 years, she lived out of her car, often parking it at local gas stations, where she said she found unexpected kindness. Kevin Kennedy with her story.
To most of us, this is just an old 1997 Lincoln Continental. But for Stephanie Parker, it is so much more.
Slept in the front, slid the door all the way back, put my feet up on the dashboard.
For 2 years, this is where Stephanie would usually sleep, a gas station, her front yard.
It don't matter which one I went to. I didn't have to pay for nothing. They fed me. They made sure I was okay. They didn't run me off the premises.
A diabetic, there were certainly difficulties that come with being homeless.
I was worried because I have insulin, and as it got hot, I was worried. I was getting ice, putting in when the ice bucket out of the motel.
Stephanie does get housing assistance, but finding a place in this shrinking market of affordable housing proved difficult.
I can't do stairs, so it was hard finding the first place in a decent area.
After spending one too many nights in her car, Stephanie calls us.
It was just something that said, reach out the channel to the news.
We spoke with Stephanie and made some calls.
God put people in your life for reasons. You may not understand it, but in the long run, everything will be just as clear.
A few weeks after that, we helped Stephanie find an apartment.
This is my home, and it's going to be here until they tell me to go.
Maybe it was Stephanie put in our path that was the real blessing.
These are tears of joy. Because I thank you, Mr. Kennedy, from the bottom of my heart.
Still to come, some local headlines, and the Lucas County Sheriff's Office already looking ahead to next year's budget. The sheriff going in front of county commissioners asking for an upgrade where he says that money, that new money, needs to go. While most teens are getting their driver's license at 16, there's a local high school student in our area who's already got one license. This one is taking her off the ground. Thanks for being with us here on WTOL 11 Plus. Now, here's a look at some of our local stories we're tracking for you. A man convicted of shooting and killing a 29-year-old back in 2022 has been granted a new trial. The decision was announced in Lucas County Common Pleas Court following an appeals process. Cedric Bellman, who was 17 at the time of the shooting, was found guilty of murder back in 2023 and appealed that verdict. Court documents show 29-year-old Dominic Barnett was driving on South Burn Road when a bullet came through the windshield, killing him. Bellman was sentenced to 37 years to life in prison. He's got a pretrial hearing next month. We are expected to learn more tomorrow about the shooting that left a Toledo police officer injured and a 22-year-old dead. Police say it started on Tuesday when someone asked for help removing an armed man from an apartment in South Toledo. Officers found 22-year-old Zachary Reed, who took off and later crashed along an airport highway. They say he had a gun in his hand, and after talking with him, he pointed it toward officers, and that's when they fired. Lucas County Coroner's Office says Reed later died at the hospital, and they ruled his death a homicide killed by multiple firearm injuries. One officer had a minor injury. Deputies are leaving the Lucas County Sheriff's Office in record numbers, but the sheriff has a plan to stop it, requesting a new budget from the Lucas County Commissioners this week to provide a more competitive wage. Sheriff Mike Navarre is asking for an additional $7.8 million. This data shows the average wage of a Lucas County deputy versus other law enforcement officers in the area. Sheriff Navarre says they have lost 27% of their cadets hired to other agencies since 2018. So they are scaling back 15 full-time positions and asking for this new budget so that they can offer more competitive pay and hopefully deal with an issue that has been on the sheriff's plate for several years now. But the question remains as to whether the county commissioners will approve it.
Our biggest struggle is no different than what I've been saying for 5 years, is our ability to hire and to keep employees. The numbers speak for themselves.
We'll have our final budget for the whole county done the first week of December-ish. So this is a good place to start to get us where we're going to go. Thank you.
We reached out to Commissioner Gherkin, who you just heard from, to get his temperature on if he expects the budget adjustment to be approved or changed. We have yet to hear back. Well, you know the saying that you need to learn to walk before you can run. I guess the same logic doesn't apply for driving when it comes to flying. 16-year-old Alyssa Metz from Clyde, she just completed her first solo flight after getting her pilot's license last month. But get this, she did it before even getting her driver's license. Only 7% of females make up the total number of licensed pilots, and now she's one of them. The high school sophomore says the solo adventure was one to remember.
It was on my 16th birthday. We went at Sandusky County Regional Airport. Kind of surprised because I didn't think I was going to do it. But then I ended up soloing because he said I was ready, and completely nervous doing that, but it was awesome. Definitely really cool to do.
Alyssa says she's interested in learning more about how this hobby can turn into a possible career in the future. Halloween's right around the corner, and members of TPD's SWAT team got into the spirit today. They dressed up as superheroes to surprise the patients at ProMedica Russell J. Ebide Children's Hospital. They rappelled down the side of the building. You can see right there. The goal every year is to lift the kids' spirits and remind them, all those patients, to stay strong.
It is all for the kids. You know, it's one of the rare times of the year where kiddos who are inpatient get to be kids. They get to enjoy what a Halloween would be like, even though they're not home to do so. And they actually get to give back to their family members, too, and bring their siblings in if they would like, and others to participate.
SWAT officers say it's a treat to get to do this every year and surprise the kids. Well, I know it was a chilly morning and you probably weren't thinking winter just yet, but for all you ice skaters out there, you will soon be able to skate the ribbon again. Skating will return to the Glass City Riverwalk on November 15th. The Metro Parks will hold a first ice party to celebrate the skating season. There will be music, giveaways, treats, and a whole lot more. There will be daily skating lessons all winter long. To reserve your skate time, head to the links mentioned section of our website. Don't forget to check out some of the other exclusive content we have on WTOL 11 Plus. On a new episode of Good Day After the Show, Amanda Fay sits down with former WTOL 11 chief meteorologist Robert Shields. He talks about how weather has come into play in his new career.
You were saying that the weather and your background in the weather has played a role a couple of times in some of your real estate.
One of the most interesting was one of the first deals I worked on right out of the gate. And it was a home that had an addition put on. And the addition was on a crawl space. And when an inspector got down into the crawl space, they found that there was soft wood and rotting wood that needed to be replaced. And when people hear foundation problem, like this is something, oftentimes it can be fixed.
Good.
It's not that big of a deal. In this case, it wasn't. But the question was, where's the water coming from?
Yeah.
And I was standing in the back of the house looking at it, and finally it dawned on me, when the addition was added, the guttering system was just extended, and there was no extra downspouts, no extra runoff put on. So suddenly, the downspout system that was designed for just the back of the house now was taking the back of the house and the addition, and the gutter was overflowing whenever it rained hard, and then water would seep down into the side. So there's the easy fix. Replace the damaged wood, fix the gutters, it's done.
That's a lot better than a foundation
Yeah.
problem. Yeah, and then the sun angle has played some roles too.
I find that to be super fun. I
Yeah,
always
cool.
mention it to people because, like, if I were walking you through a home as a buyer and everyone goes to the kitchen.
Yes,
and I always
looks out the kitchen window over the sink. Yeah.
And I always stress, like, go to the parts of the home you're going to use the most. So the kitchen is one, right? And then I'll just stand there and then I'll say, are you a morning person or evening? And like, this kitchen sink is facing east. So in the morning, the sunrise is going to come into your kitchen. Then in the afternoon, it will be on the other side of the home, and the kitchen will be shaded, hopefully cooler, like when you're cooking dinner. And if it's the other way around, it means something.
It does.
I think I can remember when I bought homes, I never thought of that.
No, you're like, oh, okay, cool. That's where the kitchen is.
Yeah. So it's fun.
Yeah.
Just to help people. That's kind of what the job is.
Making
it isn't
decisions.
like I don't buy the house, you buy the house.
Right.
And I provide you with guidance along the way.
Yeah.
So like, it's so much fun to be able to do that.
You can watch the full episode of Good Day After the Show on WTOL 11 Plus coming up next. Mega Millions jackpot has grown to an estimated $575 million. Reason to smile if you win it. That's after nobody matched all 6 numbers in Tuesday night's drawing. Maybe you're smiling because of that. The jackpot has been rolling over since the last winner, which was back on June 27. Now, if there's a winner in Friday night's drawing, they will have a cash option worth more than $264 million. This marks the 11th largest jackpot in Mega Millions history. I'm surprised that Powerball was the biggie with the $1 billion when Mega Millions is up to $5 a ticket now. You would think that jackpot would grow a lot quicker.
Adds up. Yeah, still nothing to scoff at. 200.
No.
Yeah.
But once you hit that billion stratosphere, it starts working on people's minds that it has to hit that now for me to play again.
Yeah, that's the standard, the bar that we have set, I guess.
Right?
Yeah, well, weather-wise, going to be a cold one tomorrow morning. We are tracking some widespread frost concerns. There are frost advisories in effect. I'm expecting those overnight lows to dip down to the upper 30s. So for many areas, that's going to be the coldest we have felt this autumn so far. Friday afternoon does turn a little bit milder, but temperatures do fall back to the 50s for Big Board Friday. So you will want a couple layers for those high school games. A little more fair weather cloud cover moves it on Saturday, but sunshine in full force on Sunday. We do warm up to the lower 70s into next week. Lots of dry, sunny weather ahead. And then we gradually fall back to the mid-60s. Next cold front comes in next Friday. Could spark a few showers, but still some uncertainty as to how widespread that precip may be. Overall, some classic October conditions. Going to be looking forward to those fall colors as well, with lots of sunny days ahead.
Remember, this is your home for more than just news. You can stream our full lineup of local content anytime.